Hi, I'm Nadhirah. I hope everybody doing well during this MCO. In this video, I'm going to tell you about 9 interesting history facts about Malaysia. So some of you might already know and some of you might have no idea, so please enjoy. So number 1 is Malaysia's oldest name. Malaysia is a combination of Malay and the Latin Greek suffix sia, which means land of the Malays. It was official on 16 September 1963, which also known as Hari Malaysia. Way before that, according to Ptolemy's book Geographia, Malaysia was known as Chersonesus Aurea, or the Golden Peninsula, by the Greek and Roman geographers in the 2nd centuries. After that, only Malaysia was known as Tanah Melayu, Malayan Union, and Federation of Malaya. Number 2 is Malaysia is the sole winner in the war 1957 against communism. So, apparently, Malaysia is the only country in the world to have actually won the war against communism. During the period known as the Malayan Emergency, a 12-year guerrilla war erupted between a communist group called the Malayan National Liberation Army (MNLA) against the British colonials. The British authorities had gathered enforcement from all of its Commonwealth countries to fight the war against the communists, and it lasted from 16 June 1948 to 12 June 1960. This war, also known as the Anti-British National Liberation War, it was a great period for our nation and many had suffered, but fortunately it ended with a long-awaited victory. Number 3, the first ever Jalur Gemilang design had only 5-point star. Jalur Gemilang is a Malaysia's national flag. It was designed by a 29-year-old architect who entered the flag design competition in 1947. The original design had only 5-point star, which many thought resembled the communist symbols. The design was then modified to include more points, which is 14 pointed stars, which indicate 14 states in Malaysia. The rest is still the same, which is red and white alternating stripes, while the crescent represent country, state, religion, Islam. It was approved by King George VI on 19 May 1950. 4. Negaraku was actually Perak's state anthem. Negaraku was originally the state anthem of Perak. Tunku Abdul Rahman, who was then Minister of Home Affairs, hosted a nationwide competition to find a suitable national anthem. Although receiving about 500 entries, none was found suitable. The committee then turned to rewriting the state anthem of Perak, originally titled by Allah Lanjutkan Usia Sultan, to the lyric that we all sing today, now as Negaraku. Number 5, the national ringgit of Malaysia. The word ringgit means jag in Malay. Jag means bergerigi. The term ringgit was originally referred to these jag or serrated edges of the silver Spanish dollars circulated during the Portuguese colonial era on the 16th and 17th century. The name was then made official in August 1975. Number 6, believe it or not, it took us 8 times to get the local time in Peninsular Malaysia correct. Yes, this is a fact. The current local time for Peninsular Malaysia was adjusted a total of 8 times before. The first adjustment was in 1932, where the clock is lower by 20 minutes to lengthen daytime. Then, in 1941, it was speed up to 10 minutes faster. A year later, in 1942, it was increased to another 2 hours to match Tokyo's time. However, in 1945, the local time was reverted back to follow the time observed in 1941. Finally, in January 1982, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad made the final adjustment by forwarding the time for another 30 minutes in order to sync with Sabah and Sarawak. Number 7. Our first ever national services was actually 50 years ago. The first ever national services program was technically in the 1960s. During the Indonesian confrontation, all male Malaysian citizens between ages of 21 to 28 years old became liable to be drafted for a 2 years military training with the armed forces. It was under a proclamation signed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Then, in 2003, a 3-month national services training, or known as Khidmat Negara, was formed. Number 8, our cinema began in 1933, and the first ever movie was Laila Majnun. The film Laila Majnun was based on a classical Persian love story of two ill-fated lovers. It was directed by B.S. Rajahans and produced by the Singapore-based Motilal Chemical Company of Bombay. The cast in the movie was derived from a local opera group. Laila Majnun was a success. Then two brothers, Ran and Ran Mei Shaw, in 1937 imported equipment from Shanghai and started a Malay film production from their small studios at Ampang Road, Singapore. They only managed to produce 5 to 6 movies prior to the Japanese invasion in 1941 to 1945. And lastly, number 9, the word ketchup was actually derived from Malacca. Yes, you heard it right. The chili ketchup or tomatoes ketchup today, the word ketchup is actually derived from Ki Siap, the name of a sauce brought by the Chinese traders to Malacca. Ki Siap was a fermented sauce that was similar in taste to soy sauce. It was popular enough in Malaysia for English sailors to bring some back to their homeland. As Europeans tried to improve the recipe, tomatoes evolved to become the main component of the dish. Okay, that's all our 9 interesting history facts about Malaysia. Until next video, I hope everybody stays safe and stay home. Bye!